Hello and welcome to your Mining Disrupt News Surge for Monday, May 13th, 2023. Last week I said it was April. It's definitely not April. It is the month of May. My mistake. I sometimes get my timelines mixed up. I'm jumping around between them and things get wacky. Let me tell you, in one of these timelines, Bitcoin is doing pretty good and I'm doing everything I can to merge it with ours right now. That's what I'm doing most of my time. As always, everything I say here is for entertainment and education purposes only. This is not a place to get financial advice, least of all from me. Do your own due diligence, figure out what it is that you want to do. But we're going to be talking about that very thing today. Why it is that you might want to focus on one thing as opposed to a basket of goods and going all in on the S&P 500 or something like that. Before we get into that, let's jump into the numbers. We recently saw about a 3 or 4% downward shift for the difficulty adjustment. We're right now at 9 minutes and 44 seconds per block, so they're coming in a little bit quicker than we would typically see if we were on target. The price of Bitcoin is $61,736, meaning you will get yourself 1,620 sats for $1. Fees are really low, way lower than the quadruple digits they were right after the halving. Today, we're talking about going all in on Bitcoin, marrying yourself to an idea. I'm going to play that Sailor clip, the classic, all in on that chair type one. But I'm going to give you two real quick examples, real life examples that I think you can wrap your head around. First, if you want to protect yourself, if you want to protect your family, if you want to have a tool to do that, then having a firearm around, close at hand, is a pretty good idea. The gun that you go and reach for when something bad happens, when you hear a bump in the night and you think there's an intruder in your home, should be one that you know your way around really well. You know exactly where the safety is, you know exactly the trigger pull, you know exactly where the sights are, you know exactly where the switch to turn the light on, etc., etc. Something that you have trained with extensively, something that you know exactly how it works. Which is to say, when the bump in the night happens, you're not reaching for 3 pistols in one hand and a matchlock in this hand, and then you've got a shotgun strapped to your back and a katana on your waist, and then some scissors over here because you might get trapped in a paper bag and you want to be able to cut yourself. No, you're going for one thing. You're going for that one rifle, that SBR, that shotgun, maybe a pistol, whatever it is. It's not 13 different rifles that you're just, throw it all at the bad guy. Another example is Magic the Gathering. When a new set comes out, I'm going to talk about standard here for a second. When a new set comes out, the metagame, the overall look of the game, changes. What decks are doing well, changes. What decks are doing bad, changes. Mono red aggro is doing really well, changes. All of these things are in flux when a new set comes out. But usually, after a week or two, the meta is solved. There are some small changes that happen as the metagame shifts in the coming months, but usually, after about a week or two, with as many games are played online, people have figured out the best deck. The same is true in the financial world. There are bad investments, and there are good investments, and it is your job to figure out which are the good ones. I can't tell you which is a good one. You probably have some idea which one I would say is a good one, given what I talk about here every freaking week, but it's still up to you to make that determination if you agree with me or not, if you want to go in a different direction, because, I don't know, maybe you have different dreams. If you are hoping to make $1 million tomorrow, Bitcoin probably isn't the ticket that you want to buy. So this is all to say, there are unquestionably best options when it comes to defending yourself and to winning a game of Magic. Let's jump over to Preston Pysh and see what he has to say about self-responsibility and knowing what you're doing and this kind of angle. It's a little bit more slightly esoteric, but this is from an appearance that he had on the Bitcoin Matrix podcast.
The thing I love about Bitcoin, going back to my time at the Academy, one of the lessons I learned is take self-responsibility for yourself, sir. Nobody's going to put you on their back and carry you 20 miles through the forest. You have to do that yourself. And if your feet are bleeding, so what? Do the hike. Don't be a wimp. Don't be scared. Get busy. Take responsibility for yourself. And Bitcoin is that through and through, man. Like, I'm sorry, like if you're truly custodying Bitcoin, it's the big boy program. You lose your keys, sorry. You just made a donation to everybody. So if you like those kinds of rules that you're actually responsible for everything, well, Bitcoin's the place to be, baby. I am here for it all day long, let me tell you.
If you are not ready to be the one that's in control of your money and actually taking responsibility for it, then Bitcoin might not be for you. Now, moving on, this is actually another clip from the Bitcoin Matrix podcast. This guy, David Colum, says something that goes against the grain of what a lot of people talk about. You hear diversification. You gotta go have some here, have some there, invest in some tennis balls, get some gold. You don't know what the movie with Zendaya came out. People love Zendaya, the kids love Zendaya, and that's about tennis. And pickleball is really picking up these days. So if you invest in tennis balls, you might see some major gains. Pens, they make tennis balls. Maybe you might want to get some of those because you don't know what's gonna. Yeah, maybe. Or you find things that actually are standing the test of time, have stood the test of time, and you invest in those things. Tennis balls, yeah, people play tennis. Is that going to see 10% growth year over year? Is that going to be the S&P 500? I don't think so. Maybe.
Bitcoin is designed to screw the people who have no idea why they own it. One of the characteristics of the guys who got stinking fucking rich on Microsoft, stinking rich, the common denominators, they never sold. And the faint of heart are going to buy Bitcoin. They're going to panic. They're going to say, I wish I'd never done it. And then it'll go up again. And you have to marry an investment. If it's a really good investment, you got to marry it. People say, don't marry an investment. Of course you should marry an investment. If it's the right idea, it didn't become a bad idea just because the price. Buy something you're willing to hang on to if it goes south.
And to close my point out here, I'm going to go to this absolute classic segment from Saylor where he absolutely eviscerates Tom on this point here. Just takes him down to the kindergarten level and shoves sand in his face and goes, "You dumb fuck." And it's not like he's saying that directly to Tom. It's just, how can you not see this? How can you not understand this?
Are you all in on the chair?
I am all in on the chair.
Like the point really is you put on one pair of glasses, you've got one pair of AirPods right now. You're looking at me through one screen. You're using one microphone. That's a one microphone. Like, you trust it? Is that conviction? Seems kind of scary. Why don't you diversify? Why don't you use 10 microphones? The point really is, things in your life, do you drive in 10 cars at the same time or one car at one time? Do you drive down one street? Aren't you afraid that you're driving down one street? Do you take a different way? When you use knives, do you have copper knives, wooden knives, steel knives, aluminum knives, rubber band knives, diamond knives, because you're afraid to commit to the right knife? It's a tool.
In closing, my thought is this. If you're going to get into anything, whether it be a relationship with another person, whether it be a job that you're going to get paid to do work at, whether it's an investment, know what you're getting into to the best of your ability. But don't stop there. Once you have locked yourself in and you've got into this thing, keep on doing research. Keep on learning about this thing. But I would highly suggest that you don't even dip your toes into something until you understand it to a pretty good level. And this is why people say, not buy Bitcoin, but study Bitcoin. Because if you don't put in that kind of required 100 hours to get into and understand how this thing works, and you're not asking difficult questions like, why can't it be shut down? And how can this happen? And how blah, blah. If you're not asking all those questions, then you probably shouldn't be putting any amount of money into it. So understand what you're getting into and then get into it.